Bless Squad, what's going on with y'all, man? It's your boy, Blessed Applesauce, here to bless y'all with another video here on Blessed to Invest. And here today, we're here to talk about the rat poison called Bitcoin. We're here to talk about Bitcoin. As everybody has been seeing from in the news and articles and social media, the thing is absolutely skyrocketed and it's all the way up to $36-ish thousand. I'm looking at it now, it's about 36 grand, which is absolutely crazy. That's the all-time high of this thing right now. And a lot of people are wondering, should I invest in it? Should I buy it? If I have a whole bunch, should I sell it? I'm a Bitcoin millionaire, Bitcoin 100,000aire, whatever you are, what should you do with Bitcoin? Today, we're here to talk about exactly what Bitcoin is, what to do with it, and what the future expectations of Bitcoin should be. So make sure you spam a like on this video, spam that like button, because I've done a lot of research. And you're also going to get my personal opinion of where this thing is headed. So make sure you do that, and also subscribe down below. Of course, make sure y'all do that. So without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so basically, let's start with the history of Bitcoin. Bitcoin started from an idea in 2008. If anybody is not familiar with 2008, it started with the financial crisis. We had a market that was absolutely falling apart. We had a housing crisis, and the market was just collapsing. And what they did to get us out of that situation was print a lot of money. We had a lot of money that was printed by the Fed, and that created a idea of a group of people that were very upset about the government. They were upset that the government could just come in, flood the market with dollars, newly printed dollars that were not worked for, that were not earned. They would just, boom, dollars came in and ruined the value of the current dollars that were in the system. And people didn't like that. So they decided to create Bitcoin that was separate from the dollar, completely separate, and could do its own thing that wasn't affected by government. They wanted people's money, money that could be controlled by people or not really controlled by anybody. No one had a lever to just, hey, I want to make some more money, so let me print it real quick. And that's where the idea of Bitcoin came into place. It was a system that wanted to be separate, where you can't print Bitcoin. It was supposed to be real money, but on a digital scale, because we're in the 21st century, so they wanted to make it digital. And I think, for me, I personally think that's where we're headed. I think we are headed for a digital currency. I don't know if it's going to be Bitcoin. Personally, I don't think it's going to be Bitcoin, but that's where the person that designed Bitcoin believed it was going to go. So he added a currency, a money, onto the internet, onto the digital platform. So with that, Bitcoin was introduced, and as you can see, fast forward a little bit, in 2015 to 2017, that's when we had the crazy rise, the crazy euphoria of Bitcoin. People were going crazy. I'm quite sure a lot of y'all remember, a lot of people, friends, family, I know mine were just buying Bitcoin. We had to everybody had to buy Bitcoin. It shot all the way up to about 19,000 in 2017, and then it had a giant collapse all the way down to 3,000, toward the lows like 2,000 or 3,000 up into this point. So what it's been doing over the past couple of years has really been just consolidating. We've had a lot of introduction of new people say, okay, I want to get in. A couple of months ago, we had PayPal say they are going to introduce Bitcoin into their system. We have had banks and different hedge fund leaders that say, okay, yeah, Bitcoin is pretty cool, pretty good. I like the idea of Bitcoin, how it can now replace the dollar, now replace gold, and now become a new system, a new currency that we can have faith in and believe in. And the couple problems with this here, I don't particularly agree with that. But we're going to look at the technicals first, because I want to give y'all a technical perspective on Bitcoin, because I know there's a lot of y'all traders out there that just want to make some money off of this thing. So let's look at the technical perspective of this Bitcoin. Okay, from a technical perspective right now at $36,000, this thing is absolutely very, very, very overbought. If you look at any chart where it's completely skyrockets, as you're looking at now, where we have a push, we have some resistance levels that are breaking, and that has this giant push. What the market tends to do is it needs a breather. It needs a pullback. And what that causes is selling pressure. People that have bought the thing very low are going to start selling because they want to take profits. New buyers need to come in and correct it. Sellers that are looking to short the thing are going to start to come in at this point. And if you look at charts a lot, historically, that is just what happens. Markets don't move in a perfect up direction. They don't just go straight up. They go up and then they come down a little bit. It's called a correction. They go up and then they correct a little bit. Go up, correct a little bit. Markets move in natural waves. And as you look at this Bitcoin chart, it is on the impounce. It needs a correction. So I'm expecting a correction to come soon. So if you are currently in Bitcoin on a technical standpoint, just to make a little money, if you just want to trade this thing, I definitely recommend prepare to sell, get ready to sell, because that's where it looks like right now. Definitely on a short-term basis. But on a long-term basis, we really don't know what is going on with this thing. But I know y'all want my opinion, so let me give my opinion on the positives and the negatives on Bitcoin. So on the pro side, the digital currency space is brand new. We haven't had a digital currency before. We've always had the dollar. We've had credit and debit. And yes, credit and debit is somewhat a digital space, but Bitcoin really takes it to a whole nother level where we are able to enter this space where we can now transact with the whole entire world. And maybe in the future, we can have a system where everybody in the world is on one, let's say, Bitcoin for right now. So what Bitcoin did is really introduce us to that, which is great. That's one pro about Bitcoin. It introduced us to the future. It introduced us to the internet and the ability to transact with people worldwide. The second thing Bitcoin did, which is a pro, is take us away from government. Because the 2008, and I definitely do agree with this, the 2008 system where they were just printing money and what they continue to do now and print even more money, even while we're in this COVID virus, they're continuing to do it. They're sending checks out every month. We about to have universal basic income. Everybody's going to get like $3,000 on a monthly basis, whatever they're trying to do up in Congress right now. So having something that is disconnected from, let's say, a corrupt system at this point is good to have. It's definitely good to have something on the side. So those are the pros of Bitcoin. The problem with this is this thing real money? Because you can't just go out and just say, voila, this is money. I can't just go to you and say, here you go, this is real money. Here, buy this at $30,000. And that is the problem with Bitcoin for me. It lacks the intrinsic value. And if anybody understands what money really is, what creates money, Bitcoin does not have that. The definition of money, it needs to be to create money. It needs to be portable. It needs to be durable. It needs to be divisible. It needs to be interchangeable. And it needs to also be a store of value. It has all those things. You can break it down. You can take Bitcoin wherever you want to go. You can exchange it. The problem is it doesn't have a store of value. So let's say you want to take Bitcoin, you want to take your life savings and put it all into Bitcoin. Are you confident? Do you know in 40 years Bitcoin is still going to be there? We don't know. And that is the problem with Bitcoin. For money to really exist, it needs to be a store of value. Back in the day, we used to have gold as a store of value. And to this day, we still have gold as a store of value. 1,000 years ago, the same gold that they traded with is the same gold we can use now, and it's still going to have a store of value because it has a track record and it holds its value throughout time. That is what money is. It needs to hold its value throughout time, and Bitcoin has not produced that, and it has not shown that it can hold its value from a long period of time. The second issue with it is the intrinsic value. So what creates money is the intrinsic value of money. Before we had the dollar and the fractional reserve system, we had barter and we had gold and silver that was money. And the reason why that was created as money is because gold and silver had intrinsic value before it was created as money. Intrinsic value means it can be used for other goods and purposes other than exchanging of money. So let's say you can use gold for jewelry. You can use gold for shining your phone or your camera. You can use it as equipment for different things. So it has intrinsic purposes other than just money. And that's what creates money. So let's say this pen can be money because it has a purpose other than money. You can write with it, you can use it, and these properties that it has value, and it can use wow, and it can be used for other things. So that would be a use of money because it can be used. But Bitcoin doesn't have that. It has no properties that can be used for other things. So let's say Bitcoin is $0 today. What else could you do with it? Could you make a house with it? Could it heat your house? Could you play video games on it? What could you do with Bitcoin other than just see it's in your wallet? That is all. If it's zero, it's worthless. And that's the problem with Bitcoin. A lot of people complain that, oh, Bitcoin is great, Bitcoin can do this, Bitcoin can do that. But at the end of the day, this thing has just become a pump and dump. It's become a trading vehicle where people are just buying it because it's going up. And in these systems where people are buying it when it's just going up, it becomes a greater fool. That means somebody has to take the loss on it. If I'm going to buy it for 10 and I sell it for you for 20, and that guy I sold it to for 20 buys it for 30, and next so on and so on, at the end of the day, somebody has to take a loss because there's no value in it. There's no real value in it where the last person that purchases it can use it for a good. There's nothing there for that person to use it for. So at the end of the day, there's going to be a loser on this thing because it has zero value to it. And the last and final problem I have with this is the volatility. If we're going to have a currency that is supposed to be a currency, I want to know, okay, if I go to the store tomorrow and I own some Bitcoin, can I buy a loaf of bread for Bitcoin? Will the price of Bitcoin change over the days, weeks, and months? And as we can see over these past 10 years, it has been an absolute roller coaster ride for Bitcoin. Absolute roller coaster ride. You cannot feel comfortable and say, I'll own some Bitcoin and I know the exchange of goods I can buy for Bitcoin is going to be the exact same tomorrow, because this thing is just super volatile. In contrast, if you were to buy gold, you would be like, okay, I feel comfortable. The same goods that I bought with gold 100 years ago, I can still buy with Bitcoin 100 years from now. I mean, I can still buy some bread with gold 100 years from now because it holds its value. The price doesn't fluctuate like crazy. So this stuff, Bitcoin, this rat poison, is really only good for the speculative investor, the speculative trader that really wants to put some risk on something that really doesn't have a base, really doesn't have any value, and you're betting that this thing turns into something in the future, that's all you're doing. You're just hoping that this thing turns good in the future because you're betting on, hopefully it has some intrinsic value, hopefully it has some type of currency that comes together worldwide or something like that, and it has not created any of these things for the Bitcoin system. On top of that, the government is starting to regulate this thing, so the people that were hopping on board in 2008 to get away from regulations are coming back to Bitcoin. So for me, I don't think there's any reason to hold this thing. I think this is a pump and dump. You need to be buying this. If you do buy it, put a very, 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 very small portion of your portfolio in it. And when you buy it, you need to be selling it to the greater fool, because this thing is rat poison. You need to stay away from it. And the people that are buying it, I feel like it's mainly these younger audience, the people that are like under 30, that feel like, oh, this is like the brand new wave, this is going to be really cool, this is the future, blah blah blah. But at the same time, they cannot explain to you what it is, why is it going up, what is it doing, what is it for. They have no clear direction of what this is, and that's concerning to me, because in events where investors, brand new investors, and people that have no idea what is going on in the market are buying something, that's when you have a problem, because asset bubbles are created. Just historically, that's just what tends to happen. But let me know if you are buying Bitcoin. I think it's rat poison. I think it's garbage. It has no value. It has no use for it. It has no store value, and it's just worthless. It's just way too volatile for me. But I'm not opposed to just pumping and dumping and letting it go, nail and bail, make a quick grand off of it. I'm all for that, but this thing is probably going to go to the ground soon because it's worth nothing. But let me know down in the comments what you think. I know it's going to be some Bitcoin people in my comment section talking about, oh yeah, Bitcoin's great, but let's have a conversation. You give me your argument, and I'll give you mine, and we can chop it up in the comment section. But that's going to wrap it up for the video. It's been your boy, Blessed Applesauce. Stay blessed. I'm going to see y'all next time on Blessed to Invest.
Just to see tomorrow is a blessing. Stay prayed up is the message. Everything about a nigga blessed. Everything about a nigga.